Today we have an opportunity to go to a deeper level with three of our fellow Rotarians. And you know, it's a reminder that wherever we go in life, everyone has their special story, their gift to their fellow humans who also have, as Rick Warren, the author of The Purpose-Driven Life, says, that dual track of both blessings and hardships at any given time. Sometimes we talk about life having its peaks and valleys, and while that's true on the peripheral, what's more often true is that at any given time, each of us have certain blessings that we can really rejoice in, and certain hardships that we perhaps are going through. And so when you hear the stories today, think of it in that perspective. No one's life is perfect. Everyone has their hardships, and everyone has tremendous blessings that they can share with others. So today, we'll start with Bill Neff. Bill, while I'm introducing you, please come on up. And just three things I want to tell you about Bill is that he joined Rotary in 2008, and this was during a debate for the state senate. He was born on the 4th of July in 1953 in Lancaster here, and he owns and operates a business in Manheim Township and has done so since 1975. So please welcome your fellow Rotarian, Bill Neff.
Thank you, Chet, President Lizzie, Rotary Club. Chet told me just last week I could speak only this time about politics, religion, and my father said, you don't do that, or sex, but he didn't say sex, so I think we covered that last week if you were there, you know. So we're good. I can't really sum it up all in 5 minutes, your whole life. But some of the guys at the table were asking, saying, security, what kind of security? Well, I never really thought about being in security. In fact, I wanted to be a cop. In fact, I accepted it when we did college. I wanted to be FBI. But of course, we know how things go. I started in the 6th generation here in Lancaster. I'm a Lancaster native. I probably had, the first person I ever met in this whole room was Sarah Tebow. We both were at General Hospital on the same day. So I don't think we could see. I used to say I put my eyes first on you, but I'm sorry, I missed the point. The reason why I got into Lancaster Rotary basically was for a lot of you I've done business with most of my professional life, and I thank you for it. And Bill Bell, Brazilian wrestler, fellow classmates of Warwick, and of course my scoutmaster, one of my scoutmasters here is Rick Oppenheimer, and Jim McCall were my scoutmasters. So we go way back. I was born in Lancaster. Never met Patsy. That was my great-grandfather and my grandfather Raymond. So we're 6 generations. We farmed an island way back in the Susquehanna River. And the irony of it is I live in York County, and the last recorded duel on the river was a Neff versus Seltzer, fighting over fish for shad before. So I got a lot of stories, but I really want to thank, I went to Edward Hand, George Washington, AB, we do the power packs. And then Dad said, hey, it's getting rough in the ward, so they moved me to Lidditz, and I graduated Warwick. Guy came up to me and said, Bill, you want to buy my locksmith equipment? I said, what do I buy that junk for? So for $200, that's how I got into business. And the rest is history. Became the first certified master locksmith. I have alphabets out here. Been all over the world, taught CIA, FBI, I'm playing down to Lexington. But what I really want to do, without all that, there was a love of my life, 33 years I've been with, and your prayers, concerns, and condolences. So if you don't mind, there's one little poem I'd just like to read to you, and I think we all need to reflect, because a lot of us have head knowledge, and I'm trying to work, my passion is I want to work a little bit more on my heart knowledge. My wife would say, she used to get a little bit upset. I had a World War I math teacher, Big Bob Birchfield used to say what you mean what you say, be done with it. And of course, you know, I have no filter. I tell you exactly how I feel. My wife didn't really like that. But anyway, she was definitely an inspiration in my life, and that's the only reason why I can achieve the things that I have. For 33 years, she was with me, almost the same time as Christ. So with this, I'd like to disclose, it's a poem, which I didn't even know my wife would write. It says, "Longing for Hope. They say death comes in threes. I began to ponder why. God reminded me of Calvary when Jesus came to die. I say, God is there, no more space to fill. I'll gladly take that place to be with you in heaven, to meet you face to face. It's not that I'm depressed or sad or feeling blue. I love to read your Bible and believe you to be true. The more I learn about you, the more I long to leave this world which suffers greatly because people won't believe. If everyone created would choose to seek your face, they quickly find one true God, your love they would embrace. How promptly lives would change for good if they would only listen, then act of what you speak to them and turn away from sin. It all begins with one small step of giving you first place. It's not a hard thing to do if we recognize your grace. When we choose to guide ourselves, weakness surely follows. Hurtful sins keep happening as souls remain quite shallow. Hearts grow restless, incomplete, a void is there within, which only Christ can ever fill, whom your Spirit ushers in. So now we pray, God help us remove the chains and bands in favor of the Savior. We relinquish our plans. That was my wife wrote it in 2009. So obviously, God blessed her, and it was a blessing to have her in my life for 33 years. I'd say we all had a turmoil this last year. So what I do, I read it's called the Bomb Shelter Psalm. Psalm 91, and it starts, and I say for you, if you want to, you can look at it sometime. In World War II, they were dropping bombs, and it's definitely one psalm near and dear to me, and it starts out, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." So with that, I would suggest that we have New Year's resolutions. Maybe we should take a look and check our heart. That's what the 4-way test is about. Thank you for this time.
Thank you, Bill. And for those of you who weren't aware, it was actually on September 27th that his wife finally went on to glory after a very difficult battle with cancer. And Bill was right there by her side for all of that journey. And thanks for sharing that and for sharing her beautiful poem. And if you don't mind, if that could be sent to all of us, I would like to have a copy of it. Okay, now we're going to hear from one Richard Hendricks. We know Richard as Dick Hendricks, and we are honored to have him as a club member here. He spent his working career with Armstrong, and he was with them for 34 years in a variety of manufacturing positions on 3 continents, as well as leading the R&D organization for their sealing business. Dick has been a member here at Rotary since 2010, but he's been a Rotarian on and off, mainly on, since 1977, including in Simpsonville, South Carolina, and Lexington, Kentucky. Dick is a pilot. I didn't know that about him. He has an instrument-rated private pilot license and is a former volunteer with the Angel Flight Program. Now, that's a program where pilots and other volunteers arrange free private air transportation for medical patients who cannot otherwise afford to utilize that type of air travel when they have needs. So please welcome Dick Hendricks.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. President Lisa, fellow Rotarians. Start off with a kind of a bio. I was born and raised here in Lancaster. Been married twice, divorced once, and have 3 daughters. Graduated from Hempfield High School in 1966. Went on to Lehigh University and got a degree in industrial engineering in 1970. Was fortunate enough to graduate at a time when jobs were rather plentiful for particularly college graduates with technical degrees. And I joined Armstrong for the primary reason that I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, so I asked them, what do industrial engineers do in Armstrong? Most companies have a fairly narrow track. Armstrong's answer was, anything you want to be. Industrial engineers had gone into production management, personnel. So when I finally figured out what I wanted to do, I figured there would be a good opportunity to do that with Armstrong. I started in Macon, Georgia. That was at my request. I grew up in a neighborhood with a lot of Armstrong executives, and I was the paper boy. I was the kid that pulled their daughter's pigtails, and they really didn't want to start my Armstrong career in Lancaster, and so they obliged me by putting me in Macon, Georgia, which was a bit of a culture shock because in 1970 it was only about 6 years after the Civil Rights law was passed, and while they had taken the signs off the drinking fountains in the restrooms, it was still very much of a segregated society, and everybody knew, which ones they were supposed to use. It was also a time in Vietnam. I chose to go in the Army Reserve when I got out of college. Went through basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey. Graduated, as soon as I finished basic training, was transferred to Macon. Joined the Georgia National Guard down there, went through their OCS program, and was commissioned as a second lieutenant and served out my military career in the Georgia National Guard. My oldest daughter, Stephanie, was born in Macon. We were there for a total of 4 years. After that, we moved to Greenville, South Carolina, where my second daughter, Allison, was born, and where I started, I took my flying lessons. My grandfather had passed away at that point. My mom was a small inheritance and said, here, do something that you wouldn't otherwise do in your life so that you can remember your grandfather. So I thought, okay, I was never going to end up having the money to set aside myself for doing that. So I took flying lessons, and for the entire time that I was flying up till about 3 or 4 years ago, every time I hopped in an airplane, I would think of my grandfather. From there, we transferred to Newcastle, England, northeast of England, right on the North Sea. And my third daughter, Amy, was born there. Was the last year that you could get British citizenship by right of birth without one of the other parents being a British national. So she is the one member in the family that has dual citizenship. It was interesting times. I got there right after Maggie Thatcher was elected prime minister. A lot of union strife. Our plant was not exempt from it. We went through a 19-week strike where all of the staff performed maintenance for that entire 19 weeks. It was actually probably the best learning experience in my entire working career because that was where I learned the sealing business from the ground up. I moved back to Lancaster in 1982. I was at Marietta Sealing Plant for 6 years. It was also during that period of time that I served as a Republican committeeman for East Hempfield Township. Got divorced while I was, during that 6-year period. Re-met my high school girlfriend from 18 years previously, and we got married in 1989. Been now married 27 years. Moved to a corporate job in Armstrong's grid operation after Armstrong merged, and during that period of time getting the divorce, I had an opportunity to go to Portland, Oregon. And I told my boss, I said, yeah, really rather not. Can I pass on this one? Because at Armstrong, you normally didn't turn down job opportunities or job moves. It was kind of expected. They asked and you went. And he said, okay, we'll give you a pass on this one because of your personal circumstances, but you owe me one. So I'll come to how we collected on that here in a minute. Moved into Armstrong's grid business. At that time was part of the team to form a joint venture with Worthington Steel, who had produced the grid system, and that's the metal support system for suspended ceilings. Once that joint venture was put together, somebody else took over the manufacturing responsibility for it, and Brad called me into his office and said, I'm calling in my check. I need you to go to Münster, Germany. So, okay, one condition, and that was to take a month off between the time that I finished the job in the U.S. and started in Germany, so that I could do a 1-month immersion course and learn German. So that was what I did, because I needed to be able to speak to the employees and communicate. So that was pretty much 8 hours a day, one-on-one with an instructor. I needed about 1 more week, and I would have perhaps been able to think in language, but nevertheless, I got off to a good start. We were there for a total of 4 years, and during that period of time, was fortunate enough to be on a project team that built a plant in Shanghai, China. So I was commuting from Münster, Germany to Shanghai, and then back to Lancaster, and we did that for a total of 3 years. Returned to Pennsylvania, back into the Armstrong-Worthington joint venture as their vice president of manufacturing, and that lasted for about 1.5 years, and then transferred back to Lancaster to head up Armstrong's ceilings innovation operation. 1982, when the GE crowd kind of moved into the Armstrong management, kind of ran afoul of that, and I wasn't about ready to leave the company after that many years, because Armstrong had a very good retirement program if you could make rule of 90. So we reached a mutual agreement that I would go to Kentucky and spend my last 3 years in the wood flooring operation in Somerset, Kentucky. I did that, and because my wife said, no, I'm not going to Kentucky, so that was when I bought an airplane and was commuting to back and forth every 3 to 4 weeks on weekends, flying back from Lancaster and then back to Kentucky on Sunday evenings or Monday mornings. That was when I got into the Angel Flight program, because in the process of doing that, it gave me opportunities either on the trips back to Lancaster or from Lancaster back to Kentucky to fly people generally in the Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia area. Retired from Armstrong, took early retirement in 2005. Subsequently went to work for a small family veneer business in Lexington, Kentucky, whom I had met while I was at Armstrong Somerset plant. We bought a plane together, which allowed me to make the trip a lot faster and a lot easier. It was a much faster plane. And as I said, we did a lot of Angel flights during that back and forth. After retiring from my second career at Armstrong in 2010, returned to Lancaster and felt like it was time to give something back. I joined the Lancaster Rotary Club, SCORE, Lancaster Township Planning Commission, our church, First Presbyterian Board of Trustees, and a homeowner association board in Pinehurst, North Carolina. And for those who don't know about SCORE, it's a volunteer organization that provides guidance and mentoring to people who either want to start a business or who want to grow an existing business. Currently doing volunteer work, taking care of a 200-year-old farmhouse that was part of the Hans Herr, Abraham Herr family. Back in the next door neighbor owned the original farmhouse, was built in 1735. The one that we live in is built in 1804. Requires a lot of upkeep and maintenance on a regular basis. We travel frequently to Albuquerque, New Mexico to visit my 2 daughters and grandchildren who live out there. Hobbies are golf, travel, family activities, community volunteering, and visiting with family and friends. Following some serious medical issues over the last couple of years, we decided it was time to get started on our bucket list. And the first item that we accomplished on that was this past summer when we played golf at St. Andrews. Okay.
Thank you, Dick. That was very interesting. Finally, we're going to hear from Paul Lynch today. Paul joined Rotary in July of 2009. He is a first-year member, as you learned earlier, of our club's board and oversees the club lane of Service 1, which includes the program committee. Paul is Vice President of Paul Media Solutions. It's a full-service ad agency and media buyer here in Lancaster. and he has worked there since 2009. In Paul's previous life, as he likes to say, he was an on-air meteorologist at WHP CBS 21. And so please welcome Paul Lynch.
Thanks for the opportunity to let you know a little bit about me. I'll be rather brief. So I was born on Long Island, New York in 1980. I grew up in the other Levittown, New York, now Levittown, Pennsylvania, with my parents and younger brother, Joe. My father was a police officer in Nassau County, and he retired in 1993 after 21 years on the force, and that's how we ended up here in Lancaster. We used to vacation here and in Hershey, and that's how we ended up here in Lancaster, and liked it here. Here we are. After we moved here, I went to Manheim Township Middle School and then high school, and then stayed local for college and went to Millersville. I always loved weather. I used to go out in snowstorms when I was 6 and 8 years old, and in the middle of the night go measure the snow falling down. So that's how I got into weather. So I went to Millersville. I commuted from home. And my first job in TV was WHAG TV in Hagerstown, Maryland. It was my first time away from home since I commuted to Millersville. So that was a neat experience, and a lot of us, it was kind of like college year number 5, because we were all, it was our first job, and no one really had any money, so we all just kind of got to, kind of a nice little family at WHAG. I was there a little over a year and then moved to WHB. I wanted to get closer to home, and I stayed there for about 5 years. And the only reason why I left TV was because I realized that there were no good hours in TV. We're either up early or up late. And I was fine with that until we had kids, and then I said, all right, if we want to have a family life, it's time to change things up. So that's how I ended up at Hall Media Solutions. I met my wife, Kelly, at our first job. We both worked at Dutch Wonderland. We were ride operators and then eventually supervisors together. I got to know each other, but we never dated when we worked there. We only dated after we stopped working there. We love taking our kids there. It's neat kind of going back. Some things have changed, some things haven't changed. Speaking of kids, I have 3, Grace, Olivia, and Liam. Grace just turned 9 the other day. Liam's 5, and Olivia would be almost 7 now. As a lot of you know, Olivia battled brain cancer for almost 2 years, and we lost her last December. I never felt loss like I felt after losing Olivia. I think losing a child is probably one of the hardest things that can happen to you. It's like losing a leg. You'll always miss not having that leg no matter what. We do our best to continue, living life, but we miss her. As a family, we love watching home videos. We love seeing Libby fully alive and hearing her voice and seeing her just alive. We never want to forget her smile and her laugh and just love of life. As a family, we have battled cancer twice now, so Olivia and Kelly. Kelly has had 4 cancers. She had melanoma when she was 16. The doctors told her, there's nothing we can do for you. She's here. She had thyroid cancer when she was pregnant with Grace, and then breast cancer and sarcoma when Libby was sick. Kelly's sarcoma came back this past summer, and she had surgery to remove it. The doctors have told her, they told us a couple months ago, that they expect it to come back, and that even if she did chemo, which doesn't work very well, that she'd have about a year left to live. So that's the world that we live in, but we just keep on hoping and just keep on living every day. That's the heavy stuff in my life, but my perspective and what I value in life is truly because of the experience that we've had with Libby's journey and with Kelly's journey. I am truly a changed person and changed man because of that experience. I know that we are all carrying something. You've heard some of the stories here today. All of us are carrying something. What I'm carrying is no less than anybody else. So I recognize that all of us have lessons to learn here, and our experiences and the highs and lows that Chet was talking about, they're meant to teach us things, and we're meant to grow while we're here. I think that one of our purposes here is to just love each other. Where there's love, there's no hurt, there's no sorrow, there's no evil. So that's what I try to do in my life, is just love. The journey that we've had these last few years has truly transformed my relationship with God. I truly can say that I have one now, and I embrace every day as a gift. I try not to worry too much about tomorrow because then I'm not living today. I try to slow down and take a moment to just kind of enjoy the beauty, little things, walking barefoot in the grass, seeing the sunrise, seeing a rainbow. Liddy loved the rainbow, so every time we see one, we think of her. I try not to say things like, I have to do something. I try to say, have the mindset, I get to do something. That everything that we have is an opportunity, and everything, there's a blessing in everything. I'm very passionate, and as a family we are, about sharing our family's financial blessings with others and giving back to the community. Home Media Solutions, the company I work for, shares those same values, so it's very nice to go to a place where we're giving there, and we try to do the same thing in our own lives. I want kids to know that they are valued and that they're important. I love doing the mentorship with our club. I've been involved with Big Brothers, Big Sisters in the past. I just want them to know that they're valuable and they can do what they want in this life. And I'm really happy to be part of this club and all the community work that we do. And that's just a little bit about me. I wish blessings upon you for 2017, and thanks for the opportunity to share a little bit about myself.
This great panel.